you live ECU? Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday, March 17th edition of the show. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. You got a question, comment, concern, drop it in the chat. We will get to it over the course of the next hour. A lot to get to. We'll talk some Pirate baseball here in a few moments. We've got Cason Remaley from Carolina Curveball set to join us. Philip Pilkington producing today. We'll get into that. A whole lot more. March Madness. It officially starts tonight in Dayton, NC State. In action against Texas, also a 16-16 game. So we're going to dive into the bracket. I've got my bracket ready to go. Now, I don't know if Philip and Cason do, but I've got my bracket also. Slater, Igo, 4-year-old, has made his official first bracket. Cason's got his bracket ready to go. I can't see if it's filled out or not. But,
it's not.
Okay, not filled out, but maybe we'll go through some picks, at least some scenarios during the next hour. So if you got some comments, weigh in on that. So let's introduce today's cast. He is Cason Remaley. He's back, Carolina Curveball, doing his thing. We know him as a basketball junkie in a previous life, so I feel like I had to get him on for this as we'll talk baseball and college hoops. But Cason, welcome back, my friend.
It is good to be back. It is March. It is March Madness. Also, midweek madness this week for college baseball as we at Carolina Curveball highlight the midweek because it is a big part of the Carolinas because all the teams play each other. We have a pretty good slate tonight, except NC State and UNC Wilmington, who is the game I kind of want to watch the most. Is guess what? You guessed it, on Flow Sports. So most of the viewers and listeners are not able to watch, but got Elon. Coming to Greenville tonight, looking forward to that game. Elon went to NC State last week and shut out NC State 2-0. So they are definitely tricky. They're coming off a Wilmington sweep. They got swept by Wilmington this past weekend. So coming in a little hobbled, but last week in the midweek, Elon did sweep ECU. And ECU, I mean, dropping that game to Penn was really frustrating. I watched the later innings and just kind of frustrating that another GVK performance is kind of washed away.
Yeah, I mean, the better he pitches, the less runs ECU scores at this point. Philip Pilkington, he's with us. By the way, happy St. Patty's Day. I've got green on. I think Cason's got a shade of green. Am I seeing any green on Philip?
No, I did not.
Man.
I'm going to wear my Team USA baseball hat tonight in the press box, and the gray of the IBX Media Polo does match it actually the best, or the quarter zip, so that's what I'm going with. Honestly, though, Stephen, I don't know if I have a green shirt. Like, I own a lot of Celtics stuff that has green on it. Now that I think about it, I do have one primarily green Celtic shirt, but a lot of, like, my Celtic stuff is black and just has, like, green writing. So, yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, just wear Celtic stuff to the press box tonight. Nobody will kick you out on a day like today. I think
that is true.
Today is fair game.
I think it might be, like, us and, like, Donnell might be the only people in the press box today, so.
That is true. Elon ECU, by the way, first pitch moved up to 5 p.m. due to the cold front that I guess is now officially here. Not too much severe weather, but it was windy yesterday, so hopefully everybody stayed safe. All right, we're going to talk basketball in a little bit, but we'll start with baseball since we haven't talked to Cason on this show for a while. The Pirates, I kind of put it on my podcast last night, and I think the show yesterday, like, there just hasn't been a fulfilling week yet for ECU baseball. Like, they've lost at least once every week. They haven't really had any, like, terrible losses, although the Xavier series and the Campbell loss early aren't looking great, but it just feels like the team is kind of treading water right now, and we're hoping they go on a run. What do you make of the 12-8-1 start for ECU? We've seen glimpses of great. We've seen glimpses of bad. So what do you kind of make of it?
I think it's just frustrating because you'll see this team not just put up runs, they're putting up touchdowns and field goals. I mean, they're in the midweek last week just putting up unreal numbers, and then Friday night put up unreal numbers, and then on Saturday it's just blank. You're just like, what's going on? This is the third time they've been shut out at home. North Carolina, a really, really good program, coming off a series loss versus Virginia last weekend. And then this weekend, they travel to Berkeley and sweep Cal. I don't care who you are, traveling across the country, playing another Power 4 opponent is very, very hard. And then you lose to Western Carolina, get shut out Western Carolina. I really, honestly don't know what to make of this team because I think with this team, they're either going to score 14 runs or won't score a single run. It's very, very frustrating, but kind of like you've told me since I've covered this team since 2022, just like if you have pitching, you feel better than being able to hit having no pitching. So I think that is a positive. But at the end of the day, Steven and Philip, we needed to win these games versus Coastal. We needed these RPI points. We needed these wins versus Carolina as well, and they're just not there. And lastly, I know it's bothering you too. Every time we put 12, 8, and 1, and that 1 for North Carolina, East Carolina is so frustrating. That is my biggest qualm with this ECU baseball team, to be honest with you.
It is like not that 12 and 8 is great, but I feel like just 12, 8, and 1 just
Yeah.
it hurts my sports brain, or mainly my baseball brain.
Yeah.
You guys have the power rankings out. I want to get to that in a minute from Carolina Curveball, but also like Cason, do you still think this team has what it takes to make a run in the American, get itself? It's too early to say they're like out of at-large territory, obviously, but I think if they win the American, they even finish second, maybe an improved American, like you're probably still going to be in that at-large mix. Do you still have faith this team gets there?
Yes, I think this team, if they finish second in the American, they can get in. They can get an at-large bid for sure. I think they can win the American, and hey, we're gonna find out very quickly with the schedule coming up. I don't think they will host. I think the only way they host if they go on a run like in 2022, where they just light the world on fire and also win some of these midweek games. That'll be big versus like Duke and these other programs. So I definitely think they will be an at-large team. Not sure where they will go. I was curious of the size of that large. Like, will they be a 2 or 3? I think we're really going to find out. But as of right now, on St. Patrick's Day, I think they're an at-large team.
Speaking of which, with these midweeks, you going to make the trip over to Jack Coombs next Tuesday?
I am actually. I'll be there. Will
Let's
you be there?
Go. I'm going to be there. Yeah, I've not applied for my media pass yet. I need to. Are you going as a fan, or are you working for Steven?
I think I'm going to get a pass. I'm not 100% sure yet, though. Steven, are you going?
I am most likely not going. I would likely be sending one of the interns. James Giglio has been, big into wanting to go to cover these road games. So I'm going to see if he wants to go. What is that, a Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday at 4 would be tough. But it is maybe possible. Honestly, with the earlier start time, it works out better for me. But we'll see. I'm not a Jack Coombs guy. I'm not a Philip. I don't like spending my spare time in Jack Coombs Field. Philip loves going there. If he's not in the IBX Media Studio, he's most likely at Jack Coombs Field. So,
I don't know about that. I've only been once. I think every other time I saw Duke play was downtown. But no, Cason, me, you, Wags, Casey, we're having dinner after the game, by the way. So
let's do it.
There you go. You got your reservations set already. The Carolina Curveball Power Rankings are out, and ECU has, even though they're, I guess, at the same spot they were last week, they've just kind of been, again, treading water here, kind of sinking a little bit each week, Cason, all the way down to 9. There's a lot of good baseball teams in the Carolinas. North Carolina now at the top spot ahead of NC State, Clemson. Coastal still sticking strong despite their injuries at 4. At 13-6, they swept App State in a pretty competitive series. Wake Forest 15-5 at 5. Duke is at 6 at 15-7. Charlotte at 7, 13-6. UNCW has been playing well in CAA play. They're 14-6 and they jump up to 8. And ECU at 9. I mean, I can't really complain at this point, Cason. I mean, Pirates have kind of dug themselves a hole. It's up to them to dig out of it. So, what did you make of these rankings?
These were very hard for us to make, and I think it's kind of interesting where ECU is sandwiched in between Western Carolina and UNC Wilmington. They beat UNC Wilmington but lost to Western. So kind of interesting there. ECU's kind of floating right now, but I think as American play picks up, and I honestly think they will get better. I hope it's the same as last year, kind of these early season jitters and kind of get better. But Steven, who is not on this list that do you think should be? And there's one big one that is not on here for the first time in Carolina Curveball Power Rankings history.
So who's falling out?
I'm guessing. I'm not looking at the rankings. It's got to be South Carolina, right?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
The lone SEC program in the Carolinas is not in the power rankings. They got swept by Florida this week. They are just – and that same Florida team lost High Point in a series at home last weekend. So it's just very interesting. I don't know what to make of South Carolina. We followed them pretty close. We talked about them last night on our show for a good bit. And, South Carolina has the talent. But we were saying that it's just a culture thing. We don't know what it is. It's got to be in the water, in the walls or something. Because how can you have that much talent, that much money influx into a program and losing games to Queens? They lost to Queens, and Queens has lost 13 straight since that game, which is just absolutely bizarre. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. And we said on the show last night that we do not think Maneri makes it to the end of the season.
One of you guys had a bold prediction, right? That Maneri would get fired even mid-season.
Yeah.
So
Reed.
I mean,
Reed said
we knew after reading that article in the Big Spur, which is part of the 24/7 Sports Network, on just all the dysfunction going on in South Carolina's baseball program. You can hit the reset button. You can spend all the money you want, but if you don't have culture, this is just further proof of it. You can have all the talent. If you don't have culture and you don't have stability in the locker room, in the clubhouse, you're not going to win. And as soon as things start to go sideways, that negativity just takes over. And I think we're seeing it now with South Carolina. And I agree. I mean, Paul Maneri obviously has a great history as a coach, but for whatever reason at South Carolina, it is not working. And I kind of expected this. Don't know if I expected this early, but here we are. It will be a battle of the Carolinas in some ways today at Clark LeClaire Stadium, ECU and Elon. You mentioned earlier they've kind of pitched well in the midweeks, beat State last week. It'll be 5 o'clock first pitch tonight. Ryan Towers starting for ECU. He was one of my candidates to start Sunday. I guess technically speaking, if he just throws a few innings, he could come back and throw Sunday a few innings as well. But, just what are we hoping to see tonight? We'll start with Philip from the Pirates as they look to try to get off to kind of a look-ahead spot with conference play coming up, but you still want to kind of play your best baseball right now going into the weekend.
You do. And, look, you want to build off your hitting performance that you had on Sunday. The defense has been pretty good. It's going to be interesting to kind of see exactly what the starting lineup is, who's in right. I would guess Herring's probably not going to play today. So does that mean Davin in right? Probably, and Braden in left, and then, Hakame maybe at second. But I just want to see them continue to have good approaches, hit the ball well, work some counts. Seems like it was something that we have done early in the season, and then this weekend we forgot how to work counts. I'm not saying getting 0-2 holes, but also, when you get these midweeks, these are not the best pitchers. And if you see 5, 6, 7 pitches from a guy, he's eventually going to throw you a meatball when you're getting midweek, mid-major pitching, right? So you don't have to get up there and swing at the first pitch. As for the pitching things, I don't think it's really any different than any other midweek. You hope you can get your starter one time through the rotation. And I say in a perfect world, you did a really good job last week only using 2 pitchers in your Tuesday midweek. Maybe you can do that again.
Couple things that stand out to me about Elon before I throw it to Cason. As a team, they're only hitting 229. They've only hit 7 home runs, and they play in a very small ballpark. So that stands out to me. What else stands out to me is they do steal a lot of bases. They're 38th of 39. They have one guy who's 18 for 18, Jackson Alford, in stolen bases. And they're actually pretty solid on the mound. 4.94 ERA, holding opponents to a 2.32 batting average against. Not a ton of strikeouts, but they seem to have a decent amount of pitching. So ECU, you need your pitching on point. You need to make the routine plays in the field and have some tough at-bats to get into that bullpen, hopefully, where they're probably not, but so deep. But it seems like they have some decent pitching, as Philip was mentioned, just tough at-bats. Cason, what do you hope to see tonight from the Pirates, who are now even more banged up than they were before on the injury front, too?
I just think they need to come in this game with a mission to win and just have some urgency to win, because this Elon team went into Dope last week and beat NC State 2-0. And that was their second midweek win of the year, besides Longwood, I think it was, or Presbyterian in the first or second week. They played North Carolina the week before. That was not a very close game. But on ECU's front, I mean, just play the game. Play the game. I think they need to play loose, but with some urgency. I expect them to score a lot of runs if the trend continues like they were in the midweek last week. And kind of most of all, and just kind of what I've heard on you guys on Bucks on the Pond, just have fun, play loose. It's Tuesday. I mean, I think that they play so wound up at some points, and I think it kind of gets to them. And I think you kind of saw that on Saturday, and good win on Sunday on the walk-off by Kalinic. And on the other side, I'm curious to see what that lineup looks like for East Carolina with the injuries, and do you try out some new pieces there? Is Kalinic going to start tonight after you pinch hit him twice in the last 2 weeks and he hits a home run? So just curious. I think this team's still figuring out, but this is a good test at home versus Elon. And yeah, just really looking forward to this one. I'll be watching for sure. I kind of wish I was there, to be honest with you guys, because as you were saying, the press box would be kind of empty. I like it when it's like that, not too packed. So wish I was there, fellas.
Only the real ones show up for midweek games against Elon, especially when it's like 50 degrees, fans and media. So that'll be tonight, 5 o'clock. Kenny is in the chat. He says ECU 7, Elon 2 is his official prediction. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll dive into the NCAA bracket. March Madness officially here. Gets underway tonight with the first four, and we'll break that down. We'll go region by region, talk about some of our favorite matchups, favorite picks, and more. This is Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted
Welcome back. You got here just in time. This is Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday. We got in some ECU talk, segment 1. Let's dive into some hoops. If you guys got any questions or comments, drop in the chat. We'll get to it. We got Cason Remaley joining us. We got Philip Pilkington with us as well. And, man, there is nothing like March Madness, gentlemen. Let's dive into it, just kind of the overall regions. We'll have some discussions. We'll start with the East. And Duke, by far, got the toughest draw. I will say, by the way, Slater's first ever pick, my 4-year-old son, was Siena over Duke, Philip. So he's a big fan of the green teams. He honestly had a good bracket outside of that pick. But if it comes true, I may crown him the best bracket picker ever. But outside of Siena, you got to be a little worried about this draw for the Blue Devils.
Well, first off, I thought Slater and I were starting to develop a friendship. I see how he feels about me now. Yeah. But, yes, he would be the king if he gets that one right. Outside of this, I mean, look, TCU, not a bad team. I think they could push Duke. The interesting one is, do you get Kansas? Do you get St. John's in that spot? You know, Kansas has time and time again underperformed this year in big games. It seems like they're better when Darian Peterson is not on the floor, or Darren Peterson, is not on the floor. But, sometimes teams like that just figure it out at the right time. And, St. John's is not as dangerous as they were a year ago, but we know how good Patino is in the tournament. I mean, the top half of this bracket is really interesting. And, I mean, don't sleep on, either one of those teams get upset in the first round either. Northern Iowa has pulled off big first-round tournament upsets. Cal Baptist, a solid team out of the West Coast Conference, or out of the Big West. So, that top half is tough. And, hey, it's disappointing, but at the end of the day, you want to be a champion, you're going to have to go out there and beat some good teams.
What is the status of their injured players? Are they expecting them back? Or
I would expect Patrick Gungba to be back, which, I think Caleb Foster is a better player, but Duke does have a very deep backcourt. I don't think maybe Foster is as important as Gungba, just solely from the fact that right now you only have 2 healthy bigs in Malik Brown and Cameron Boozer. So getting Big Pat back should be big, and then I would expect it to at least be the regional semifinals before Caleb Foster returns. And honestly, if I had to put money on it, I would say he wouldn't be back till the Final Four.
Cason, what stands out to you about the East region?
Dan Hurley, Mick Cronin, Tom Izzo, Bill Self, Rick Pitino, John Shire. Do you want to throw in? I mean, Pat Kelly
Johnny
has won a
Dawkins
tournament game. Johnny, shut up. Hey, are you scared if they meet for a chance to go to the Final Four? Does Johnny Dawkins get his payback for 2019?
Yeah, he had a heck of a game in 2019. That was the Zion team, and Taco Fall almost led him to it. But look, I went to the preseason game this year in Cameron between UCF and Duke, and UCF hung in there for a half, but I do not think the Central Florida team is as good as the 2019 Central Florida team. If those two do meet in the Elite Eight, I feel good about Duke, but I think Duke's got to get to the Elite Eight first, and they're probably going to have either Tom Izzo or Danny Hurley waiting on them when they get there.
USF, the lone American Conference representative. I kind of like them in this 11-6 game. I picked South Florida to win. I mean, I know the American's not great, but first-year coaching staff, obviously they brought some players over with him, but I like him as a coach. I think Louisville, has been good this year, but up and down. I don't know, Cason, I've got USF winning. How are you leaning in this first-round matchup?
This is an interesting one for me because the coach, Hodgson, he's from Buffalo. Yep. They're playing in Buffalo, and all signs are pointing to him taking that Syracuse job. not far from Buffalo. So I'm curious what happens here. I personally have Louisville winning. I think that Pat Kelsey is going to win a tournament game one day or another. I think it's this year. I think South Florida is a good team, but I can say they've been playing bad teams for the last 2.5 months. The American's pretty bad. But I do think that no matter what happens in this Louisville South Florida game, the Syracuse AD will be outside locker room with the paperwork to hire Hodgson from South Florida. But if Louisville does win that game, I don't see them getting past Michigan State, or we could see North Dakota State beat Michigan State. But tell me if I'm wrong. Wasn't last year pretty chalky?
Oh, last
It
year
was
was
very
the
chalky.
chalk of all chalk.
Yeah.
There was hardly any upsets.
Yeah.
I am
So we'll
hopeful
see.
that is not. I'm hoping that that's just a 1-year thing. I did pick less upsets in my bracket. Like I've got USF as the 11 winning. I think that line though isn't even that separated, so it's not even that much of an upset. And then outside of that, I don't have really many upsets in this region. I've got UCF winning over UCLA, just because I like seeing Mick Cronin get mad. I do have UConn emerging from this region, guys. I've got St. John's taking out Duke in the Sweet 16. UConn beating Michigan State to go to Elite 8, and then UConn St. John's in D.C. with UConn winning.
Ooh, I like that.
So, any other thoughts? And you guys can make your predictions here if you want, or wait till later in the week, especially you, Philip. But Cason, any thoughts on predictions, picks?
I have Duke going through this. I think that it's very interesting that, and I think there was media in the triangle saying that Duke is going to get a golden path to the Final Four, and they have easily the hardest path, because if you look at the Michigan side, the Midwest region, which is just full of lollipops and rainbows, and Duke is the number 1 overall seed, and they get all these Hall of Fame coaches and all these good teams. I think Duke comes out of the East. I would like to see UConn and St. John's play one more time. I think it's just funny how I feel like they're just interlinked in every aspect that they play. And I think that Kansas, I think Peterson is very good. I know it's a hot topic in college basketball. I think he's a very good player. I think he's one of the best players in the country. And I think that if he can get hot and score 30 a game like he can, I think they can beat any team in the country. Bill Self is the coach, and also got Dooley on that staff, so he's a wonderful coach as well. So let's see if we can see some Dooley and Self magic here, right, Steven?
Hey, as long as he's on the bench doing his job, he's a good coach. Philip, you think are you going to pick your Blue Devils to win this region, or is it going to be tough for you?
I don't know. It's going to be really tough. I always wait till Thursday. I wait till the first 4 games have played out. I do my bracket kind of last minute. I don't know, man. I've crapped on them all year, and then I finally gave them a compliment on Saturday night, and then they get this draw. But, yeah, I think I'm going to have them come out. I mean, they've been the best team in the country. They've beaten Michigan. They've beaten Florida. They've beaten Kansas. Peterson did not play in that game, though, by the way. They're battle-tested. They've got 17 quad 1 wins, by the way. That is only 3 less than Hubert Davis has in the last 5 years combined.
That is a crazy stat. Let's move to the South region, gentlemen, which is on Duke's side of the bracket. You have Florida as the 1 seed here. You've also got Vandy as the 5. Can Nebraska finally win a tournament game against Troy? 4 versus 13. I do have Troy winning that game, as both those guys shake their head. VCU in North Carolina and Greenville, South Carolina. Kind of a home game for the Tar Heels. I do have the Rams winning, maybe out of spite, but I do have them winning. And then you have Illinois, Houston as the 2. Thoughts here, Cason, on the South?
I have Illinois coming out of here. I think that is a EuroLeague team playing in the NCAA tournament. They have so many foreign players. They are a really good program. Underwood is a phenomenal head coach, one of the most underrated coaches in the country, in my opinion. But if you look at it, you see Kelvin Sampson and Houston sitting on that 2 line, a few spots below them. It's hard to go against him in Houston. And Steven, Hubert Davis's record. He has never lost in 5 years a first-round NCAA tournament game, and his average margin of victory is 24 points. in the first round games. That even includes the first 4 last year versus was it San Diego State. So I have North Carolina beating VCU. And VCU, they said, wasn't going to make the tournament unless they won the Big East, which was interesting to me because in Oklahoma, not the Big East, the A-10, excuse me. And then because in Oklahoma would have been in, which is interesting to me because I think VCU is a good team at 27-7. And Nebraska, no, you can go ahead and put Troy and Sharpie to beat Nebraska. They ain't winning a game. Also, another one I'll touch on, Vanderbilt severely underseeded. Vanderbilt 5 seed at 26-8. I think they had a phenomenal season, made it to the SEC championship. Very, very underseeded there. Kind of feel bad for them. And Florida is still there. Florida, at the beginning of the year, you didn't know about their NIL decisions because they were struggling to start, but they really, really came to fruition towards the end of the year. So I have Illinois coming out, but it's hard to choose Illinois when you have Houston right there.
You know, it's interesting you bring up the Vanderbilt thing. I think they are wrongfully seeded, Cason. But McNeese, they've been in this situation before. Obviously, most of their players are playing for NC State now. But the Cowboys were not tested in the championship game. Stephen F. Austin just looked like they did not want to be there. Does that help McNeese? Hey, we're a little fresh. We didn't have to go through all the drama of a championship game. Or does it, man, we really haven't been battle tested because we were clearly the number 1 and 2 team in the Southland, and the number 1 team didn't even show up for the championship game.
Yeah, I think it could go either. I think it go either way for sure. But I think Vanderbilt is going to be on a mission, being underseeded where they are. I really don't think it matters in my opinion because I think Vanderbilt could beat Florida personally.
Hey, a 5 seed has never won the NCAA tournament. It's the only seed 1 through 8 that's never won. Does it happen this year?
It could.
No.
I'll tell you what, the Illinois-Houston game, potentially. I was on the same wavelength you, Case, and I have them meeting in the Sweet 16. And I'm like, the winner of this game is I'm picking to win the bracket. Or, excuse me, to win their region. And I couldn't get – I know this Houston team isn't as dominant defensively as Kelvin Sampson's teams usually are, but I just don't know if, like, Illinois – is that style going to work against, like, a rough and tough Houston team? But I can see the winner of that emerging over Florida or Vandy. Who do you have coming out of here, Phillip, if you're ready to make a pick? Or just general initial thought?
I think my initial thought, just by looking at it, is probably Houston. Houston originally was my national championship pick going into the season. I don't think they do win it, but I could see them coming out of here. I think they want to play Florida. I think they do. I don't think they want to see Florida get upset. They want their revenge from the national championship game last year. It's a home game for them because that South region is in Houston. Technically, they're not the host team. Rice is technically considered the host team, but home game for the Cougars.
Good old Rice. All right, let's get a break in, and we'll come back. We'll look at the other side of the bracket, the West and the Midwest. We'll discuss that and more after this.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Cason Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef. Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Tuesday edition of the show with Cason, Remaley, and Philip Pilkington alongside. Wednesday is the start of ECU's spring football practice. We'll have James Gillio on the show, also talk some spring football storylines and more. Just published an article on hoistedcolors.net on that. 10 spring storylines to watch. So if you want some of that discussion, check it out online, free for everybody with that article. All right, let's dive back into this bracket. Gentlemen, we've talked about the East region and the South region. Let's move over to the West, where Arizona is the 1 seed. You also have Villanova, Utah State is the 8-9. Wisconsin, High Point back in the tournament as the 5-12 game. Arkansas in as a 4. Texas and NC State in the 11 play-in game. The winner of that tonight will play BYU, Gonzaga, Miami, Missouri, Purdue, and Queens. So a lot of good historical teams in this region as well. Obviously, Arizona the favorite, but Purdue playing well down the stretch. Missouri, interestingly, gets kind of a home game in this 7-10 matchup against Miami. You have Gonzaga. Obviously, we know what they've done in the tournament in the past. What stands out to you here, Cason, in the West?
I love that we can potentially get Arizona and Arkansas. I think that it will be a really good game. I like Arkansas a lot. I think Arizona is the second best team in the country, in my opinion. I also was very shocked at NC State versus Texas here in 11. I honestly did not think NC State was going to make the tournament. They've lost 7 of their last 9, and I've just really struggled. I think that first half versus Virginia really kind of pushed them in. And I mean, Will Wade even said it himself. I mean, he was kind of just like, we are where we're supposed to be because of what we've done. I think the winner of that game, NC State versus Texas, AJ DeBanza for BYU is going to put up 40, so it doesn't really matter who wins that game. I will be watching tonight, though, at 9:30. It'll be so late. But going from Dayton and then having to fly to Portland, Oregon to play BYU is not easy at all. Gonzaga never lost a first-round game. Isn't that – I remember talking about it last year with you, Philip. I think they'd made the Sweet 16. What's the record? I think Gonzaga's made the Sweet 16 like every single year they've been in the tournament.
Let me see.
I did not mean to put you on the spot there. Miami, Missouri. That's kind of
9 last year. They lost to Houston last year, which ended their 9 straight Sweet 16 run.
And they can run into potentially Queens in the Sweet 16. So watch out for them. Queens. I want to say shout out Queens, first year ever making the tournament. So shout out them. Purdue, definite upset watch there.
I do want to have one question for you, Case and Stephen. I want you to weigh in on this too. You know, when you look at NC State's overall resume, I think they do deserve to be one of the 37 at-large teams. Now, you mentioned 7 of their last 9 games were losses, Case, and it seems like the committee historically does take in a slight recency bias. You see it with Purdue on that 2 line. Purdue's overall resume is probably that of a 3 seed, not a 2 seed. However, due to how they have played really the last 3 weeks, they get bumped up. Are you two a fan of the recency bias? And I personally think the committee was not consistent with it this year when you look at Purdue and then you look at NC State.
Me personally, I'm torn on it because I think there is a conversation that needs to be had of the full body of work. And even for NC State's case, what is their best win? Going to Clemson or at SMU or versus a Carolina team that was without their 2 best players? They also lost to Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech had one other ACC win this year, which is just bonkers to me. But kind of like you said, with recency bias, I think it should play a factor because I think if you are a good team, you're playing your best basketball right now and going forward. So I think that is a major aspect of it too. I'm very torn on it. I would say I'm 70-30 right now, 30% of body of work. But I think, like I just said, if you're playing your best basketball right now, the committee's going to notice that and give you a favorable draw.
I lean towards I'm fine with the overall body of work determining the team getting in versus not getting in, but then I do think you need to be punished from a seeding perspective if you finish slow like NC State did. So that's why I kind of feel like they got what they deserved. Losing 7 of 9, not playing well down the stretch, losing to Stanford at home, losing to Georgia Tech. Like they just, if it all clicks in the tournament, they could win a few games, but realistically, they kind of got what they deserve with where they are. Cason? Yep.
And also, something that needs to be pointed out, this is a $14 million team in Dayton. I mean, this is unbelievable. And also, you could say the same for Texas. I don't know Texas numbers, but I know
SMU.
Texas spends and SMU too, because that is 3 teams are there. But I'll harp on NC State because I still know some people in that program and I'm kind of close to that program. Just the expectations going into this year were no longer going to be in this. That they're no longer going to be in this conversation of are we in? Are we on the bubble? They're going to be at minimum 8 or 9 seed playing in that coin flip game, but no. And the people getting mad of saying, "Oh, this is Will Wade's first year." There's always a first year learning curve. Not in today in college basketball, especially when you have this much money, this much. Stephen, I don't think, and Philip, I'll get your take on this. Have you ever seen a hire from a fan base loved this much by a fan base as NC State loved this Will Wade hire and just how much resources they put in? But also, Will Wade did a fantastic job marketing himself in his opening press conference, all the things he said going into the season. I mean, this NC State fan base, I don't think they've ever loved a coach more than Will Wade.
So, Cason, you mentioned the first-year learning curve. He's already been at a Power 4 program, so absolutely not, especially, like I said, in today's. Now, if it's a guy coming up from a really, really low level, yes, even in today's, there's still got to be a little bit. But no, he's been at a Power 4 program. Let's go back to the NC State-East Carolina football game. Was the fans louder when the football team ran out of the tunnel or when they put the basketball team on the goal line? Ding, 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 it was the basketball team. So, to answer your question, Cason, have I ever seen anyone more excited? Absolutely not.
And if I've talked to some NC State fans who, despite the slow end, are still pretty high on State making a run in this tournament. I don't know if it's just the way things have gone in the past when they have been kind of undersold going into the tournament or just the Will Wade factor. But I feel like there is more buy-in there, and I think some of it is still that honeymoon period. If they go out and play bad tonight and lose, maybe that starts to fade a little bit. But I definitely think you're on to something there. All right, speaking of, I've got BYU winning whoever comes out of that game. I have High Point. I've taken High Point, I think, the last few years. They haven't gotten it done. I'm a fan of like High Point and Akron who have been in this spot before, didn't get it done. Now they're going back. So I'm taking High Point over Wisconsin. I do have Arkansas winning. I have Arizona emerging from this region. I've got Gonzaga. Don't love it, but I got Gonzaga beating Purdue. Either way, I'm taking Arizona to make the Final Four from this region. Cason, who you got?
I have Arkansas winning this region. what is his name? The freshman, Darius Acuff. I think he is an absolute animal. They won the SEC. I think he's a dog. I have Arkansas winning this region. Arizona is a phenomenal team as well. Jaden Bradley. I mean, he's been so clutch down the stretch for them. But I have Arkansas coming out, and at the bottom, I think I have Gonzaga giving the test. Purdue, I mean, kind of just like Philip said, kind of gifted here with the 2 seed. But hey, watch out for my Royals versus the Boilermakers. 2-15 could happen.
It's just weird. You got Arkansas and Purdue playing their best basketball right now in this side of in this quadrant, and then you've got BYU who's playing their worst basketball. You got Gonzaga who never gets tested late in the end of the season. You got Wisconsin who's kind of fallen off. Like everybody in this region seems to be trendy, whereas everybody else, is kind of it's a normal bracket, but this is a very trendy bracket. So I don't know, maybe look back at some trends, but we'll see.
Moving down to the Midwest final region here, Michigan, the 1, I think probably has the easiest path to the Final Four as a 1 seed. You have Iowa State as the 2. You do have, Texas Tech's banged up, but they're there as the 5. Bama as the 4, although they'll be missing one of their best players. It seems like Virginia as the 3. What stands out about this region, Cason, to you?
I think Virginia is a very good basketball team. I think I could see Virginia coming out of this region. I think Virginia has done a phenomenal job this year. Ryan Odom has done a heck of a job. Pretty neat there. And hey, what if we get a Virginia UMBC trip to the Final Four? That'd be absolutely awesome. Little Ryan Odom revenge here,
why not, right?
So he can get back. Yeah, why not? But just like I said earlier, this is the region of lollipops and rainbows. Just kind of bizarre the draw that Michigan gets, and Duke beat Michigan. And I think they should be swapped here. I think Michigan should be in the East and Duke should be in the Midwest, or do them however you want. Because, I mean, talk about just the luck of the draw for Michigan. And Alabama, without Phylon, I really don't know. That is a bizarre story, by the way. Dude, what are we doing here, dude? Tennessee, I don't know about Tennessee. I don't know if Nate Ament is going to play, that superstar freshman. And Miami, Ohio, I'm rooting for them to beat SMU. I don't know if they do. I'm glad they made the tournament, though, at least to play in. I mean, you cannot tell me there's 68 teams better than a 30-win team. I mean, come on now. Are we being for real? That was just bizarre that we're having that conversation. They lost 1 game, people. And also, I'm so glad that Auburn did not get into this tournament. I'm so happy that Bruce Pearl is not in this tournament. But I was really hoping that they would get in and play Miami, Ohio in the first 4. I cannot even lie.
That would have been fun. The interesting thing here, if you do get the Texas Tech-Alabama matchup in that second game, Texas Tech is used to life without JT Toppin. Yes, they are no longer a national championship contender, but you feel better about them in that spot. As for Miami of Ohio's case, and I was disappointed they got sent to the first 4, because the first 4 means that if this was a 64-team field, they would be sitting out of it. You should not miss a 64-team field if you start out 31-0. So this is where I thought they were going to end up. If I had to bet where they would end up, out, in, or in the play-in, I would have guessed here they still should be a true at-large team and not put into this. As for, you mentioned Michigan, it is kind of sunshine and rainbows. Their toughest test until they get to the Elite Eight is going to be the Billikens of St. Louis in that second game. That's going to be their tough test. They get through that, they should cakewalk at least to the Elite Eight, maybe even through it, unless they see that Virginia team.
I've got Michigan beating Iowa State to get to the Final Four. I got UVA losing to Iowa State in Sweet 16. I maybe it's just because I watched a lot of the MAC basketball tournament, but I actually like their league. Pretty good basketball. I have Akron beating Texas Tech, and I've got Miami of Ohio / SMU beating Tennessee. I'm always going to fade Rick Barnes in March. The proof is kind of in the pudding there, unfortunately. Like his program, I like Tennessee, but I'm going to fade. And I'm honestly pulling for Miami of Ohio. I think it'd be great if they go on a run. Cason, who do you have emerging here?
I have Virginia. I think Ryan Odom has done a phenomenal job. I think they have real talent on that roster, and that team plays together. And I think DeRitter is a phenomenal player, and I think they are very, very good. I think it's going to be Virginia, Michigan, and I have Virginia taking it.
If Virginia wants to come out,
go ahead.
I was going to say, if Virginia wants to come out of this, they are going to have better games out of DeRitter and some of those other guys than they had Saturday night.
He did not play well against Duke. I've got Arizona over Michigan, and UConn over Houston, and then Arizona over UConn in the national championship game. Are you ready to make that pick yet, Cason? I know Philip's not. Are you?
I think right now, if I had to put a dollar amount on a champion, I would put Duke over Arkansas.
All right.
Little rematch of the 94 national championship game in Charlotte.
Cason is never afraid to put a dollar on a team in March. I can tell you that. I've seen his DraftKings account this time of the year, which, by the way, I need to re-up in mine. Fun time ahead. All right, let's get a break and we'll come back. We will wrap up the show after this.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow-cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corollas $159 a month or Tacomas $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Jolly Roger!
Now back to Hoist the Colors.
Welcome back in. Final few minutes of the show. Cason, Remaley, Philip Pilkington here to wrap it up. And a few quick things before we get out of here. Tim Smith wants to know my thoughts on the Jalen Waddle trade. The Denver Broncos make their first big move as they try to get back to the AFC Championship game, hopefully beyond. I'm a huge fan of it. As a Denver fan, you're still in the Bo Nix rookie contract. You have a lot of good things going for you. The one thing you're missing was a difference maker offensively, a guy teams have to game plan for. Jalen Waddle is that guy in the slot. You pair him with Bo Nix, the receivers they already have, solid backfield, and I think it makes them a pretty complete team in the AFC. All right. Also, big news, guys, out of the American Conference. Charlotte, up the road, fires Aaron Fern. They were the 5th seed in the American tournament. They go 17-17, 9-9 in the league. They were 173 in the net, and he gets to let go. Important thing to note here, new AD coming in. This probably has a lot to do with it, but I know, Philip, you have some ties to Charlotte, so this was a fairly surprising move.
It was, and now they're on the hook for a lot of money between Biff, between their old AD, and now Fern. It's close to $5 million. The interesting thing here, he was really good his first year, and he inherited a decent roster. I thought he outperformed it. He had never recruited college basketball before and had to deal with the portal and all this, and was absolutely abysmal his second year. They gave him another year. I think he did a great job turning it around. Like you said, 500 there overall, 500 league play. I thought they were going to give him another year. I was really shocked when I got the text this morning.
I do think a lot has to do with the AD, but also Charlotte is historically a basketball school. They have high expectations there. I do think this plays a role in, ECU keeping its coach after a poor season versus Charlotte making a change after this season. Cason, your thoughts?
Well, speaking of expectations and beating good programs, saw on Twitter, I sent it in our group chat, in the last 3 seasons under Fern, 0-11 in quad 1, 2-11 in quad 2, 12-23 in quad 3, and 30-6 in quad 4, just beating up on bad teams. And question, is Kevin Keats on his way to Charlotte?
You would have the scoop, my friend. Is he?
I don't know if he is on the way there. I definitely think he will pick up the phone. His eyes may be on another American school that is about to come open. Maybe. Speculation.
Interesting. By the way, Penny back at Memphis. There again will be plenty of openings on his staff, but he will be the head coach.
Yeah, and I hope they open the season at UTSA first game of the season.
Put him in that gymnasium. Is the UTSA coach back? Because that guy's been not good. Ryan Klotch. Haven't heard anything on, or Austin Klotch. Haven't heard anything on him. So, all right, we're out of time. Cason, appreciate you, man. Enjoy the madness. Be smart
Yes,
with your
sir.
money.
You boys. Yes, sir. You boys too. Y'all make some money. Philip, hope your Blue Devils don't fail me.
Appreciate it. And go America tonight, baby. Beat the Venezuelans.
Yep. Go Team USA. Should be a fun game. We got to get out of here. Recap it all tomorrow. James Giglio back on the show at 12 noon.